I had 100 pounds of weed in the house. I had a brand new car. I had 100 grand sitting there in cash. And then I just started getting this feeling that I was a plague on society. The drugs I was pushing, cocaine mostly, opiates, which we've seen what it's done, ravaged our city, ravaged our country. The amount of death and destruction it has caused. My name's Lee. I grew up in Oshawa my whole life. I grew up with my mom mostly. My background in religion was Catholic. Early in my childhood, my dad and my mom separated. There was a lot of abuse, like between my mom and my dad. My dad was violent and an alcoholic as well. My mom did amazing with both me and my brother, but I had a lot of internal anger and hate that I didn't know how to deal with as a kid. And I was very violent. So I was violent with my brother. I was violent at school. I was constantly getting into fights, constantly, and not just with kids, with teachers, police, any kind of authority figure. I was a very hard kid to handle. Mostly through my aunt. She would take me to church frequently until about 8 years old, maybe 9. And then it kind of diverted from there, and I went to stay at a group home off and on for the next couple of years. So even when I went into the group homes, I was violent there. I was in and out of group homes for years. My mom was a great advocate for me, though. This one time I went sent to the hospital and they had given me some drug, and I remember being locked up, all my muscles locked up, and I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, I was in pain, like severe pain. I was 7, 8 years old maybe. They had given me Haldol, and I had a severe reaction to it, and they allowed me to sit in this reaction for hours, the entire day. And then when she came, I could hear her yelling at the doctors. She works at Whitby Mental Health Center at the time, so she knows like the psychoactive drugs, and like when you give someone Haldol, if you don't have the reactant drug cogentin with it, if they have a reaction, they're going to be in severe pain, right? So I could hear her screaming at the doctors, get him the cogentin, and that's just goes to like, she was always a great advocate for my mental health, even though I never really accepted it. So when I went into group homes, she was trying to get me help, and at the time I didn't accept that. I thought she was abandoning me. I just felt alone, I still had visits and family counseling sessions. My aunt would still take me to churches. So there was a presence of I knew about God, and I could pray to him, and I did talk to him. He was my best friend for a long time. I prayed every day. I had little devotionals. I had, little rosaries, and I prayed all the time. I think my overwhelming sense of just as a child, be losing a father, becoming very violent, the consistent fighting. And then our child services is not the greatest place for a child. Stop praying, stop believing. Even just thinking about it makes me feel like I lost time with him. Came out of group home at 11, 12, lived back with my mom's. There was an incident with my brother. My mom had went out for some reason. When she came back, while she was out, me and my brother got into a pretty big physical fight. I ended up taking a knife from him and hurting him. So the police were called. I was taken to jail. Went through the justice system, sentenced to some time in secure custody for use. Afterwards, when I was out, I could not go back I was not allowed to have communication indirectly or directly with my brother for some time. So I went to live with my dad. And this is when I was 12 years old, first time I tried drugs. Immediately felt a warm blanket of comfort that took away everything from me, took away the pain, took away suffering, took away emotion. But it also was numbing everything, right? So it was me holding on to a link, you know. Everything I did was a link in the chain that was going to be wrapped around me 20 years later. Yeah, just it brings tears to my eyes because I know it's so, it's hard to even put into words. So at a certain point in my teenage years, I stopped caring about people. I stopped having emotion. I stopped having empathy. I stopped caring if I hurt people. I stopped caring about people around me, family, friends. Anybody was a target, was a bank for me, was money for me, was a means to an end, a means to make myself greater and to push people down. I dropped out of school, grade 9, dropped out of school, was done. Started selling drugs right away, started breaking into houses, robbing people, hurting people, drinking, using, just being a deviant on society. I did whatever I want, whenever I wanted to do it. And right away, I was met with consequences, you know, which was arrests and jail. But I didn't look at them as consequences because I was with all my friends. And anyone who wasn't there, wasn't my friend, was an enemy, and we took care of it together, you know. So I had a family. Like, because in my mind, I thought my family had abandoned me. But realistically, they were just trying to get me out. 15, 16, 17, started selling cocaine, started using cocaine, anything I can make money off of. And not only that, I was setting up people to be robbed. I was violent. Like, I did a lot of violent acts. I was kicking in doors. I was doing such stupid things. And a couple months dead time. And then they charged my family, my wife. At the time, they had charged her and a couple other houses, a couple of my friends. Was used to jail. I liked it in there. I had peace in there, which is like, that's another thing too, is the jail life was the only real time I had peace, where I could like be alone with my thoughts. And it's funny too, is that jail always brought me back to God in some way, shape or form. So it was in the moment I was brought to God, because I'm left here in silence in my own thoughts. You're stuck in your own thoughts in jail. You're stuck with your own devices. Yes, other people are around, but they're there for their own gain, or they do things for their own gain. You're truly alone when you're in there, which is a general theme through my whole story, through my whole testimony, is I felt alone through my whole life. And looking back on it now, I know that I was never alone. And it may sound odd to some people, but one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced is rock bottom, the abyss, the hole, the darkness, the struggle to get out of that hole is what, it brings you power. I'm a stubborn person. I've crawled out of that hole so many times. Blood, sweat, and tears crawling out of that hole, feeling alone at first, because you can only truly hit rock bottom when you are alone. You have no other living person with you. But that was a lie I told myself too, because every time I was at rock bottom, Jesus was there for me, convicting me, teaching me a lesson. Why were you here? Why was I there? And God knows, like I said, I'm a stubborn guy. I had to learn those lessons over and over and over again until they sunk in, you know. And the thing is I always went into that hole alone, but I was never alone because I had God. The thing is I never let God fill me up when I crawled out of that hole. I always crawled out of that hole, and I always left God, turning my back on him again until the last time Last time I crawled out of that hole a few years ago. Since then, I've had a new, like, an awakening. If I feel like I can be forgiven for the things I've done, I can move past them. I can be a pillar of light for other people that don't know where to go. So I had been selling drugs, no charges, 10 years clean, making really good money, new car, family, house, new wife, living good, had money to buy whatever I want. Everything was great. And then I just started getting this feeling that I was a plague on society. The drugs I was pushing, cocaine mostly, opiates, which we've seen what it's done, ravaged our city, ravaged our country. The amount of death and destruction it has caused. The opiates were a big thing for me. I feel like I am definitely responsible for pushing that on a lot of people, because I had sold to people who had never used opiates before. And they're like, oh, try this. You know what I mean? I was that pusher, not the drug dealer, but the pusher. Eventually, that took a toll on me, and I remember saying to a friend of mine, it's eating my soul, which I didn't think I had anymore. But I felt like I was, like I said, a plague on people around me and people in my life, specifically people that I was selling to that I watched go from healthy to homeless, healthy to degenerates, healthy to working every day to robbing and stealing to afford their drugs from me. It hurts me. It was starting to hurt me, and I didn't care. But now it was starting to hurt me. And I remember one day I pulled over. I was driving my car, I pulled over, and I just had like a little thing in my head say, pull over. And I broke into tears, and I hadn't spoke to God in 15 years. I hadn't been to church since I was 12. And I prayed. I said, God, help me. What am I doing? Show me something different than what I'm doing right now, because this can't be the way. And then I turned up my car and I drove away, forgot about it. But I believe that was the start of my heart crumbling, that stone around my heart crumbling, and making me into someone who cared, had empathy for people. Even though over the next few years, I welcomed my old friend, the abyss, again, and I fell right back into it, because I had built myself so high on the tears and heartbreak and blood of other people, that it had to be torn down first. And I fell back into addiction. And addiction's one thing when you have unlimited resources. Like, I had money. I had 100 pounds of weed in the house. I had a brand new car. I had 100 grand sitting there in cash. And I was like, you know what? I started doing cocaine. I hadn't touched a drug in 10 years. I started doing cocaine again. And I thought to myself, like, and I don't know why, it's almost like a crazy thought to think, I can't bring none of this with me if I'm going to come out of this a different person. And it's almost like an evil thought, like Satan was putting this in my head to like, here, throw a link at me, throw a chain at me, throw links. Here's a couple more. I'd moved out of my family's house. I'd given away my family. I'd crashed my car, given away my car. I was down to, maybe $5,000 or $6,000, so I gave away all my money. I was down to no weed, so I gave away all my product to be able to make money. Gave away all the cocaine I had. Well, I used it all, so I gave it away to my addiction. In my head, I was like, oh, I'm stopping what I'm doing if I just give it all away, and once I have nothing, I can start over. I didn't want to bring it with me. And it's just one of the stupidest things I could think that, maybe Jesus or God was telling me, get rid of this stuff. but it was Satan telling me consume it. And then I had quite the fall after I ran out of money, because the addiction was there, and it's been there my whole life. It's been there since I was 12 years old, because I never dealt with the underlying problems of my addiction. The substance was just a solution to a shitty problem. I started doing even more and more horrible things to pay for this addiction that I now had, that I was pushing on other people. Another lesson that I had to learn. I had to learn another lesson of, okay, well, what was I doing to these people for so long? I believe I had to learn that lesson, so I could come out of it and help people come out of it as well. So yeah, I was at the bottom of the hole again, recognizing this place for what it was, and I started robbing people. I guess it wasn't at the bottom yet. I was hanging onto the wall. So I started doing robberies, and one of them, I had gotten stabbed really bad. I walked out on the buddy's porch and I was gushing blood. I was starting to lose consciousness, and the cop showed up. Walked right over me, stepped right over me. And that was when I met Satan. A second later, another cop, oh my God, he's gonna die. Tourniquet my leg, still bleeding, tourniquet my leg again. I wake up in the hospital in Sunnybrook, and a couple days later, I'm alive. And you know what? I didn't I didn't kind of connect things until reflection a few months ago. But that was Satan walking over me, and that first cop telling me I'm garbage, and I'll see you in hell. Welcome. And then Jesus stepped in and he said, that's my child. Come, my friend, you're with me. And at the time, I didn't think I even deserved that kind of grace. I had hurt so many people in my life that, why would any higher power protect me like that? And shelter me in my time of need. And all I can think about over the next few months is he loves me. There's no other explanation than unconditional love for his children. I spent so many years fighting the love from my own family and the love from my friends that I never really understood that. So when I got out of the hospital, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know that God had saved me. I wasn't comprehending. It wasn't setting in. So I started going to meetings. I started going to Pinewood, and I still had some chains on me because I would go to Pinewood. I would go to a meeting, and I would sit outside. This was months after the stabbing, and I got out of the hospital and recovered. So it was cold outside, and I would go there, and I couldn't walk in. I would go there and sit outside and smoke, talk to people, meet people. I sat outside for months before I went in. I'd go there every day. And then one day it hit me, walk in those doors. First person I see is another brother of mine I had met in active addiction when we were both suffering. Because I had been to Pinewood before. I had been there when I didn't care, and I just wanted to get a break from the use or a good meal or whatever. And I had met this guy. His name was Tevin. I had met him in there, and we instantly bonded. But we were both in active addiction at the time. But this time when I walked in, it was sometime in May, after months of sitting out in the cold, I was walking in the door, and he came up behind me, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. And he gave me a big hug. And he's like, thank the Lord. He's like, thank the Lord that you're here. I was like, thank the Lord, okay. But it was truly thank the Lord, like he's become my best friend, and together we've with Jesus in our lives, we were able to break these bonds of addiction, these chains, and just I've watched him and learned lessons from him that I've needed to learn too. Like, I was never the type to forgive, and just watching him forgive people for slights, forgiving me for slights, is just, such an amazing thing. And a few weeks after that day, he asked me, like, do you believe in God? We'd already talked. Do you believe in God? I'm like, yeah, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. He's like, I'm a born again Christian. I said, I want to surrender myself to the Lord. I want to begin my journey and put myself on this path. And we started going to church together. And let me tell you, when God has a sense of humor, because he puts irony in your lessons. And first day in church, I haven't been in church 25 years. First day I walk in there, we go up, and the music, I'm moved by music. I'm in tears already. And the service starts, and this lady I used to sell drugs to, I watched her wither into nothing over the course of 15 years. She's the first person called out by the preacher. She's getting baptized. And for God to put that in my path is just, boom, my mind exploded. And I remember after the service, I was in tears. I hugged my brother. I'm like, bro, this is like what's going on here? Like, what's happening? So I had noticed something that was very odd to me, that actually broke me right down, and I was confused about it. Every day I would pray. And eventually my prayers started going towards other people and not myself. I started to pray, and someone came to my head, a person that at the time, if I seen there, it would have been on. Like, I would have choked him to death. But I prayed for him, which was, I remember I was so shocked. I got up. I went into my buddy Tevin's room. I was living with him at the time. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't understand. I'm like, why would I pray for this guy? Like, I want to kill him. Yeah, it was a real awakening for me to even, like, to have his name beam into my head in the middle of a prayer and say, humble this guy, bring him some grace, and I still don't understand it. I don't understand it, but now I have more of I do have a little bit more of an understanding that, like, I want to spread love, Jesus' love through everybody, because he has unconditional love for all of us. And I think that's another lesson that I was being sent. Can I pray for someone I don't like? Can I pray for someone that I once hated? And I don't hate this person now. But I think it was more of a lesson to make me closer to God, to bring me closer to him. And not only that, was maybe this guy doesn't have people praying for him. Maybe he doesn't have a connection, a spiritual connection. Maybe he's void of that. Maybe he's suffering. What has he gone through? I look back at my life and I think, what has he gone through that may have put him on the path of destruction as well? I just believe I'm here to help restore faith in humanity and bring a little bit of light to the darkness. I've been at the bottom of that hole so many times that I want to just help people come out of it. I frequently speak at meetings. I actively participate in the community when it comes to addiction. I volunteer at the Backdoor Mission. So those are things that I'm doing that are maybe not insurmountable things that are going to come and help everybody out, but like those little tiny things are gonna make a difference, you know. And if more people do those little tiny things, I think that we'll see huge change. A lot of this issue that we've had with the fentanyl and the drug addiction and homelessness, I have a small piece of responsibility for that. And you know, I'm not perfect. I've had many slips in my recovery, and you know, it's a constant working on myself. But knowing I'm never alone is a very important thing. I can always have a conversation, and can always pray. I can always talk to him. And I don't talk to him like you know, traditional prayer. You know, I talk to him like he's my best friend. We're not who we're meant to be without him. You just can't be what he's meant for you, what you're designed for, what you were created for without him. You just can't. He has a path that's guiding people, whether we've strayed from it or not. When we're locked into that path, we become our best selves. If you want to make it even completely selfish, bring Jesus into your life, because he will make you feel amazing. And when you do bring him into your life and you truly surrender, eventually that little bit of selfishness will turn around, and it'll be outward expressions of joy. You won't be able to hold on to it and be selfish with it. You have to share it. It brings me joy even saying it, because man, I was so depressed my whole life, and I'm truly happy now. You know, like and it's weird, because I've had everything. I've had house, cars, money, women, in all the wrong places. There's a poem or a prayer that hits me hard. It's the Footprints on the Sand prayer, and it's basically a man has walking on a beach, and throughout his life, he's walking with Jesus, and he's having a conversation with him, and he looks back and he sees throughout his life is walking on the beach where there's two sets of footprints, and then at the hard times there's only one. And he looks to Jesus and he says, why am I alone in these hard times? Why have you left me? And Jesus said, I have not left you, my son. Those are the hard times, is when I was carrying you. And, you know, I think that's everything you need to know about who Jesus is. He's done so much for me, you know, because he could have easily have turned his back on me. I turned my back on him. I cursed him. And he didn't. He held on to me because I was his child. I'm his child. He's the father. He's the father of all of us. He doesn't like that we sin, but he sent his son here to die for our sins, live a perfect life, 33 years, and die on the cross for us, and bleed and choke on his blood, and die in the most horrible, ruthless way you can think of, for us as his children. You know, how can we turn our back on that? We can't. Like, I can't. I tried, but I can't. He put things on my path in life to bring me back to him. Who is Jesus to me? Jesus is my companion, my friend, he's in my heart. He is my heart. He's unconditional love. He's non-judgmental. He's my father.